Hey y'all, for my non-traditional text, I'm analyzing the movie Wicked via cultural poetics. For those of you who are not musically inclined, the long and short of it is that the main character, Elphaba, lives in Oz, where there are both people and talking animals. Since the wizard came into power, there has been a campaign against talking animals, including arrests and censorship, all in an effort to return Oz to its glory days of prosperity. The disturbing thing is that all of the Ozians seem to be on board, regardless of the methods that the wizard employs, so when Elphaba stands up for the animals, she becomes ostracized right along with them. Though at its center has been a whirlwind of pink and green merchandise, bizarre finger-holding, and an iconic riff, the movie Wicked ultimately holds significantly more cultural value than the public has given it credit for. From the writing of the novels, the musical adaptation, to the two-part movie adaptation of the musical, Wicked has undergone significant changes to its main plot, and yet there is one important through line, which is the way that the animals of Oz represent a multitude of oppressed people. Because of the lived experiences of Jewish composer Stephen Schwartz, the ways that the oppression of the talking animals mirror real-life examples of oppression, and the timely release of the film in America, Wicked is ultimately a reflection of the way in which it is human nature to find a minority to blame for everyone else's problems. Stephen Schwartz originally adapted the novel into a musical in 2003, but he was still a producer in the Wicked film. Schwartz worked alongside another Jewish playwright, Winnie Holtzman, to take the film from page to stage and eventually to screen. Schwartz's Jewish heritage influenced not only his interest in the story, but also the themes that he decided to retain as the story evolved through its various adaptations. In a 2020 interview with Stephen Schwartz from the Jewish Chronicles, he said, "I think a lot of musical theater themes speak to Jewish audiences, because in many instances musicals are about outsiders striving to discover how they might fit in. Wicked is not overtly Jewish themed, but it certainly resonates with many Jewish people's experience. Indeed, from one of the opening shots, parallels can be drawn between the way that Jewish people have been othered and the treatment that Elphaba faces. As I'm about to show you, one of the foremost methods that the citizens of Oz use to other Elphaba is imagery. Take a look."
Are people born wicked? Or do they have wickedness thrust upon them? After all, the Wicked Witch had a childhood.
As we can see here, this caricature of Elphaba is designed to intentionally make her look unattractive and sinister, and marks a striking resemblance to one of the more prevalent forms of Nazi propaganda. As previously cited, Schwartz believes that Wicked and many other musicals reflect the Jewish experience of living as a marginalized person. Demonstrated by both of these propaganda posters, the majority of society seeks to weaponize outward characteristics against minorities in order to isolate and dehumanize them. Elphaba's green complexion and habit to dress in black, and Jewish people's identifiable genetic traits, are exploited for the sake of majority dominance. There is little doubt that Schwartz's heritage influenced the way that he decided to portray the efforts of Ozians to marginalize Elphaba. And while Elphaba certainly is marginalized, she is not the only one. The talking animals of Oz are also systematically oppressed and silenced in an effort to form a human-centric society. In one song, Dr. Dillamond is warning his fellow animals of the things that are happening in Oz. Take a listen.
I've heard of an ox, a professor from Quarks, no longer permitted to teach, who has lost all powers of speech.
Can't speak.
And an owl in Munchkin Rock, a vicar with a thriving flock forbidden to preach.
No.
Now he only can screech.
First of all, I would be remiss if I didn't point out the fact that the main talking animal in the film is a goat. He's a literal scapegoat. Anyway, the animals that were chosen to be victims of the Wizards' campaign against animals are no coincidence. In case you missed it, Dr. Dillamond specifically cites that a professor and a minister have been taken by the Wizards' henchmen. These are intellectuals that have a degree of social influence, and they are regularly the target of those trying to stifle any dissent. Intellectuals were one of the largest scapegoats under Pol Pot's regime. Mr. Pot, pictured here, was the leader of the Khmer Rouge, who attempted to implement communist authoritarian rule in Cambodia in the 1970s. According to the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, the Khmer Rouge executed hundreds of thousands of intellectuals, city residents, and religious practitioners. While not quite as much of a direct scapegoating as the way in which the Nazis blamed the Jewish people for all of their problems, it is scapegoating nonetheless. In their efforts to establish a classless society, the Khmer Rouge saw intellectuals and clergymen as obstacles to be removed. In both cases of the Nazis and the Khmer Rouge, the targeted group is considered a roadblock on the path to utopia. The same is true as the animals, as outlined by this next clip.
We're doing this to keep people safe. All of us will benefit.
And you've known all along. Since the day you met me.
You will benefit too, dearie. You must trust me.
Don't!
Elphaba, when I first got here, there was discord, there was discontent. And back where I come from, everybody knows that the best way to bring folks together is to give them a real good enemy.
Indeed, the persecution of the animals is not a creation of the author's imagination, but rather has significant precedent in the way that various oppressive governments have tried in the past to find a people group to blame for their issues and then eradicate them. And speaking of oppressive governments that find people groups to blame for their issues, it is worth noting that Wicked was released on November 22nd, 2024, which is 16 days after Donald Trump was elected for his second term in office. Now, the producers of this film had no way to know that Trump would win the election or that he would be as draconian as he is in his efforts to remove undocumented immigrants and eventually non-citizens. This is further proof that fascists have a playbook that is followed in their efforts to eliminate their various scapegoats. Hitler used that book, so did Pol Pot, so did the Wizard, and now so is our current president. One important guideline in that book is that there is no age limit on scapegoating. Take a look at how it played out in Wicked.
Look to the future. This is called a cage. Now, one benefit of caging an animal this young is that in all likelihood, he'll never learn to speak. But eventually,
Oh no, indeed, Elphaba. Us Americans can commiserate with you, given that according to educationweek.org, in these states, legislators that have been emboldened by Trump's vitriol against undocumented people have attempted to overturn the Supreme Court decision guaranteeing undocumented children an education. But that's not all, folks, because according to an article from NBC, Louisiana District Judge Terry Doherty has released a statement saying that the Trump administration recently deported a 2-year-old and her mother to Honduras without any meaningful due process. It seems that there is truly nothing new under the sun. The facets of past authoritarians are reflected in Wicked, and that in turn is now playing out in real life. As Trump was preparing for how he was going to enact his policies against undocumented people, the hype around Wicked was at an all-time high, which makes it a particularly relevant cultural artifact. Overall, I hope that you're able to see that Wicked establishes an important commentary in terms of the influence of its creator's heritage, its link to real-life oppression, and the way that we recently watched half the country vote for the Wizard. It's a fantasy world, but it has deeply applicable truths if we're willing to take the time to look for them. After all this, I really think there's only one thing left to say, and that's...